All right, well, we're in the Cybertruck again, doing our cyber CROs and a Cybertruck interview. And right now we have Debra Brown, who's the VP of Sales at Cybersecurity. Debra, welcome to the Cybertruck.
Thank you, Andrew.
This is going to be fun. I know you're probably a little bit apprehensive about it all. Believe me, I was this morning too.
You're driving like a pro.
Well, don't jinx me now. So no, it's been a lot of fun actually learning how to drive this thing and then do interviews at the same time and obey all the weird traffic regulations around downtown San Francisco. So it's been a bit of a trip. So talk to me about your first ever RSA conference experience. When was it? What was it like?
Oh my gosh. I don't exactly remember the year. So it might have been 2016. So I was definitely working for Ping Identity, and I came in from New York where I was living, and I had to come in for a meeting, and I flew in and I did the meeting in the conference space. I did multiple meetings in conference space and I left. And I never did anything else. I never went to Moscone. I didn't even know where Moscone was. I didn't see any of the, I literally didn't even see any people. I barely saw any people.
Oh my goodness.
I saw I think some hotel was under construction and that's the one that I was in. So if you remember that day, that's the day I was there. And it might have been like 2017. It might have been 2017, something along those lines. So
was it productive though?
It was. It usually is when you get to meet with customers or prospects and
right.
You get some one-on-one time with them, and you have that time where they're focused on you. So
yeah, in this intense period, you get so many of them, right?
Like everybody's trying to get work done intensely, and I think post-COVID, conference time and FaceTime is more important than ever.
Yeah, I like that. It's definitely true. And I feel like this year there's more optimism around the conference than there was perhaps in prior years.
Well, I was here last year, and I was also here the year before last year. So I would say last year I felt like, besides like San Francisco's had some challenges, and it wasn't like sometimes it's not the cleanest city, but it got such a bad rap at the end of RSA last year. And it felt like people were just not really happy about San Francisco. So, coming in today or coming in this year, people were, San Francisco, but it seemed like people, I agree, like were far more upbeat about being here, and the conference floor, especially, vendors brought their A game. The space is, people are trying to do interesting things to engage people and to do, to get them to engage in the booth, and not just us, but I mean, I saw Plinko, I saw Puppies.
Puppies?
I mean, the puppies always kill it.
What can go wrong with puppies?
Oh, a lot can go wrong with puppies, but
animals and children, right?
I love the puppies.
What are you guys doing on your booth to get some attention?
So, I mean, we're doing an Aroma 360 giveaway. I don't know if you can smell it so much, but we glow. Our booth glows.
It glows.
So I think that does something for people, but we're identity first security. And I think with all of the breaches in the past couple of years and the fact that people have been doing identity for a long time and the fact that we still haven't gotten it right gets people's attention.
Well, let's talk about that then. So let's say I'm a CISO and we're wandering the floor and I come up to your booth and Debra's standing there and I go, well, that's an interesting name. What do you guys do? How would you answer my question?
I would say we help organizations understand their gaps in identity security.
Okay.
And then I would say, we understand that people have put investments in SSO and IGA and MFA and PAM, and still they get breached. And so we can provide powerful visibility that allows them to understand where their gaps are. We provide an inventory that allows you to trigger off of them and then automate both remediation and also prevention to ensure that you have a better risk profile of your organization.
Okay. And who identifies most with that problem statement that there's gaps there?
Any organization who's been doing modern identity for the last 10 years who hasn't blocked or stopped their end users from doing everything. So there are certain organizations who've just completely gone to an allow list. And so they're not worried about unfederated applications inside of their environment. And here's the problem also. I came from ping. We see in every single POV and assessment that we do that people are still going around SSO, which is shocking to me. You think that when you turn SSO on and you turn on MFA, that you can't go around those things. And unfortunately, we see applications that haven't either been set up correctly, or when they were set up, there might have been a small population that they couldn't get set up correctly, or because of friction, they just did something different. And those are hangovers of the past that have now created massive problems. So we can see that pretty visually. We see a customer, we can connect to the IDP and see how many end users don't have MFA turned on, which is at this point post the Change Healthcare breach, where I would have assumed, and I know this, like strong identity professionals thought they were covered. Even if there was a weak password, we have MFA turned on. They couldn't have possibly thought that somebody had turned that. Like somebody didn't have that.
Right.
So I would imagine that was shocking to them. So we give that visibility, and then we can come up in front of the end user, or we can say like, hey, you've got to stop this. You've got to either to the admin or to the end user. So we can also enable the end user to change a password, change a password after a breach. Hey, you're reusing your SSO password. There are a lot of things that we can do. Now, there's more that we can do with the platform from an end user guardrail perspective around generative AI applications and things along those lines. But we're focused on identity because we just see a massive problem there right now.
And is it enterprises, mid-market that resonates best for you?
I think, we see a lot of sophisticated folks in identity who are interested in this. We also do see a lot of mid-market who have maybe done some sophisticated identity and still see the problem with, they still have challenges and they're still worried.
But you want someone who's given this a go, understands through real world experience what the problem is, not something you're trying to educate that when they get into it, there's going to be a problem.
I mean, because I think that when they might say, oh, I've got a SASE for that, or I've got a CASB for that. And many of the customers that we work with already have those things. We're not out there trying to replace a SASE or a CASB. There are good reasons why those things exist.
Yeah.
And they just can't do the things that we can do really well.
Okay. So given that there's more of the enterprise focus, would you want your teams to have more deals at lower dollar value, or do you want to have less deals at higher dollar value?
Well, value is relative, but I would say, if I'm thinking in general terms, I would say less deals at higher.
What does that get you then? What would you like about that?
Well, I think it's, and the only caveat that I would say to that is, how fast do they move? Right.
Right.
There's also
it's
lots
a third
of
dimension.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And how and all being told, like, when you say fewer, what are you talking?
Right.
Like
is it
one,
half as many or
that's right. And
yeah.
And so I think it's important that we're working on things that are important, and we're not just we're not just working on a lot of small deals that don't provide value to the organization because we know that they'll close faster or something along those lines. We think that this is an important problem for a lot of different customers. And I think that we want to work on what's important for the organization, and we think that there's a lot of value for the large enterprise customers.
Well, let's talk about the value then. So with the team that you've got working with you right now, how much of the time are they spending on the feature function battles, and how much time are they truly getting into business value and talking about transformations inside the company, not just inside of identity?
Oh, that's a great question. Because I think it probably depends on who they're talking to, right? Because sometimes we're fighting against what we might perceive as competition, right? And sometimes competition is do nothing. And sometimes competition is someone who says that they do what we do, but doesn't do all of what we do. So we might have a competitor who does some of what we do,
right?
But literally can't do the value of the automated remediation, which is the value of what we do. If you don't have the security team to do all of the guardrails and to remediate everything, all our competitor is doing is providing you with a list, and then they go do this. And all of that other value stuff that we do is like automatic remediation, get rid of it, move it to a ticketing system so that, like you're automating all of this stuff. I mean, that's powerful. That takes dollars and cents out of a company. It reduces time. And so I don't think we're all the way there yet on those conversations. We're still working through messaging and making sure that we're having the right conversations with the right people. Yeah,
it feels like identity is something that no matter which angle you take on it all, the impact of it is high inside the organization. And understanding what that impact might be at a business level might be a interesting conversation to have with prospects.
I think so. And I also think that, people have been trying to solve some of these problems for a long time, that sometimes they're just real tired about it, A
lot of fatigue. So let's give up on that. That's just the way it is.
We've got it. And, and I think what's nice about what we do is it's something different, and therefore it can provide sometimes a little spark to get them excited about, something that they haven't seen before.
Okay. What is one thing in sales or marketing that you just people just seem to believe, it's a widely held belief that you think is complete bullshit?
Oh, widely held belief that Salesforce is a sales tool.
What would you describe it as then?
It's a management tool. It's for management.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not for salespeople.
No.
And so I love Salesforce. Everyone that, I need Salesforce to run my stuff. I have to put pressure on my team. I try to make it as easy as possible on my team. I have I call my sales and marketing team Smarketing. Because I think that me and my VP of marketing have to be partners in crime. And so he's always like, oh, we should make this, force this thing in Salesforce. And I'm like, we had this conversation yesterday, and I'm like, stop. No, please don't do it. Do as little of that as possible.
Right.
Don't make it a painful thing. So that we can make it as easy, because it becomes an admin task.
Yeah.
And salespeople, the more that we can keep them out in the field selling, and the less we can keep them feeling like they're doing admin work, the better off we are.
Yeah. If you ask a salesperson who's new to a company, give me the top 10 tools that's going to help you sell more, Salesforce won't make the top 20.
No. It shouldn't even be on the list. I mean, it's great for it. We need it.
No, it's necessary.
That's right.
But I like what you said. It's a good way to put it. Let's have a different conversation. We're going to play Fizzle or Sizzle.
Oh.
So which of these, these things I'm going to say to you, which is going to sizzle, it's going to take off, it's going to continue taking off, and it's going to be hot, and which ones are going to just fizzle into nothing because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that much. You ready to play?
Okay.
First one, fizzle or sizzle, this Cybertruck.
Fizzle.
Fizzle, why do you say that?
It's so weird.
It's weird.
It's so weird. I mean, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's just super weird.
What portion of the population would go, yes, I want to have one of those and feel totally comfortable driving in one? Throughout the U.S. even, not just in San Francisco.
I would have, a while ago, I would have said like cold brew drinking, beard wearing, all birds wearing guys. But I don't know if that's the same anymore.
It's an interesting thing. It's got some weird stuff about it for sure. As I drive it, I realize there's little things that go, it's kind of interesting. So I don't know.
It's just so far, like it looks so long.
Yeah, the front of the windscreen. I mean, you could jump in there and not reach the front. Still, it just
doesn't feel like a family friendly car. Like it doesn't feel like a bro car. Like it's not like guys who drive trucks would want to drive it. Like I don't see a guy trading in his F-150 for a Cybertruck.
Right.
And I don't see like I know it's a Tesla, but it's just, I don't know. It's super weird.
Yeah.
It's cool. But it's cool.
It's cool. It's interesting when you drive around, people stop and take pictures as we're driving around.
But what would you how would you, is there something else you would say, like this reminds you of, oh, I know, Back to the Future car.
DeLorean?
A DeLorean.
Yeah, maybe.
Right? Like
that looked like a sports car though.
But it was like stainless steel. What was it?
True, it was.
It was right. Like, and the things went up and people would take pictures of it.
Yeah.
But there were like 4 of them.
Yeah, there's very few made.
Right.
Next one, fizzle or sizzle. The idea that Palo Alto wants to be the cybersecurity platform for everyone.
Fizzle.
Fizzle? You can say that louder.
I just don't know if companies want to vendor lock in on, like, they don't want to, like, I don't know. Maybe yes. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I just don't see how. I see a lot of people who love Palo.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, but I will say this, I just see people, if anything happens where customers are miserable with anyone, they will find other opportunities to go someplace else, and they will do it on the first round draft. And I will say that if they have other places where they can go, they'll go there. When I've heard people being really, really satisfied with a tech vendor, that's not the one that they say like, oh yeah, I just love Palo.
They seem to be very customer focused though.
I think everyone's trying to be customer focused.
Yeah.
I would say that, if I ask a customer, who do you love the most and who should I try to be? Palo's not the one that they tell me.
It's going to be tough for them. There's no doubt. Different way of thinking about it. So today, Wiz announced a $1 bajillion round.
Go Cyberstars.
At a $12 billion valuation.
It's an amazing company.
Well, let me ask you. So in 5 years' time, who is going to have the higher valuation, Palo Alto or Wiz?
I don't have a crystal ball.
But imagine if you did.
But imagine if I did. I would love to see Wiz.
You would?
I would love that. I would be excited for that.
What is it you admire about Wiz?
I think that they have incredible leadership. I think that they're trying to do some interesting things and make some good bets. I think that they want to do some solid investment. I'm rooting for them.
That's good. I think it'd be great too. I think it'd be really fascinating to see how it plays out.
It's, you know, like I'd like to see innovation.
Right.
I love that. You know, like I love to see somebody who just come on the scene and tear it up a little bit.
Another question for you. Which is a bigger waste of money? This Cybertruck or a booth at Black Hat?
Oh no. You know what? It's, I'm going to say this Cybertruck. It's all what you do with, actually, you know what? I can't say that. The way that you're using this Cybertruck, it's a pretty good use of money, right? Like
Bang for the buck versus a booth?
Bang for the buck versus, okay, so the way that you're using this, I would never buy this Cybertruck. Not that I think, you know, like, I think it's cool. But, this is freaking phenomenal. If you do it right, everything can work. Anything can work if you do it right.
Yeah.
I've seen, you know, you just have to do it right. And sometimes, a good idea can come from anywhere. So if you do the Black Hat and you do the booth right and you have a sharp and fresh idea, I think what's good about RSA is that if you need somebody to get to your booth and you run out of free passes, you can get them there for $75. You know, you can't do that at Black Hat. And I know that that's how they're like, well, you know, they have to pay to get there. So you only have like that's both good and bad.
Right.
But with this, I mean, it's cool. You can lock somebody in if you know who your ICP is. It's awesome.
And what's a bigger waste of time? Driving around San Francisco in this terrible traffic that we get jammed up in, or reading all the sales advice on LinkedIn these days? You got to think about that.
I've had fun. This has been amazing. I like LinkedIn. You can always learn something. Everybody's got some good stuff, but this has been super fun.
Yeah. Last question for you, and perhaps the most important question of the day. So be ready for this one. Do you think that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce will make it through the postseason?
I hope so.
You're an optimist for love?
Oh, who isn't?
Judging by my answers today, not everyone.
Oh, come on. Why be a hater? You'd be surprised. I tend to be a pretty good realist, but I'm always an eternal optimist, because being a pessimist just is a total waste of time.
It's a downer, isn't it?
It is.
Well, listen, Debra, this has been a blast chatting to you. Good to meet you today for the first time. And thanks for joining me and trusting me to drive you around in this incredible vehicle. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a lot of fun. This was super fun. I really appreciate the time, Andrew. Thank you.
Thank you.